Welcome everyone, my name is Sophia Lopez and I thank you for tuning in today to the 12 p.m. news report at BCMS News. Now, since this morning, we've received several reports on protests around the area, people raising concerns about feeling exploited and being used by the media that they consume, with many blaming these occurrences on a term dating back to the 1970s called the audience commodity. For those listening who may not know about this term, it was coined by Canadian-American communication and media studies scholar Dallas Smythe. And it was in his research in 1977 that he discovered that commercial television views its audiences as more than just audiences, but also as a product to which they sell to their advertisers. Smythe was trying to get the point across that audiences additionally become a product when they consume advertisements they see, because this is how ad-supported media makes their revenue. We can see this through archives, for example, from 1970s newspapers, such as the one from the Richmond Times-Dispatch, where their audiences were consuming advertisements on physical newspapers about colored television. The advertisers bought the ad space on the newspaper because they knew the newspaper's audiences would consume that type of content and potentially go out and purchase that advertised product. We've come a long way since television, newspapers, and radio dominated our social space. With social media growing at such a rapid pace over the last few years, we're even seeing it being used in pre-existing media. Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter are just some of the few platforms being utilized by media to further profit off of their audiences, now while also getting them to contribute at the same time. This is an idea called the prosumer commodity. It's a term derived from the audience commodity, but focuses directly on audiences within social media platforms and how they both consume and produce content. And this is what the protesters in the city are protesting about today. In a press release sent to us by the organizer of the protest, who chose to remain anonymous today, they said the theme around the protest is enough is enough. Now this is the first time we're reading it out, so let's see what they have to say. So the press release reads, "Our patience is running out. Calgarians are tired of media companies viewing us as just products. We're being used and expected to comply. We live in a world where there is no free lunch. Nothing is in fact free, even though they make it out to be. There's always a fee or a way to get tricked into consuming content we didn't even ask for. And we've had enough of advertisers taking advantage of us." So it appears as though the blame is being put on the advertisers, talking about how there is no free lunch, an idea where media and content that we consume is free. But they're saying this is not true and that there's always a fine line somewhere where we do end up having to pay. So that's very interesting. And if you would like to take a look at the rest of that press release, we don't have enough time today to read it all. You can find that on our website. Our team has actually gone down to the area to see the protesters, some of them with signs reading, "Stop the ads, stop the exploitation." Another saying, "I'm tired of being seen as a product." It's clear to see that many Calgarians are unhappy with this surge of the prosumer commodity theory. We've got some BCMS News members actually heading down there again later this afternoon to see if we can get any statements from those protesters. So keep an eye out for our Instagram and Twitter for that. Before we continue with the final minutes of the 12 p.m. news report, we're going to take a quick break.
Looking to leave the country, but you don't know where to start or what airline works best for you? Well, at Fly Canada, we ensure that your trip meets all of your traveling needs. From beautiful blue skies to white sandy beaches to impressive buildings, new cultures, and gorgeous green landscapes. The Fly Canada website makes it super easy to book your next adventure and discover something new. From first class to business class to economy class, Fly Canada offers the best seats for you at the best prices. With wide, spaced-out seats, Fly Canada prioritizes your comfort. Our flight attendants have quality training, offer friendly support, and know multiple languages for those who need it. For a limited time only, you can get 30% off when you book your next flight with us within the next 48 hours. For a memorable trip, book with Fly Canada. Safe travels.
Welcome back to our viewers, and for those just tuning in now, welcome. You can catch up on what you've missed later this afternoon when our report goes out on our YouTube channel. So to circle back, we've seen how a term dating back from the 1970s remains a topic of conversation within our newest generation. Some of you may ask, well, why is this term still relevant? So much has changed since then. And the answer to that question is that advertisers are still around us today through most content that we consume. The only difference between now and the 1970s is that the type of media and tools we use to consume them is different. So media is going to continue selling their spaces, advertisers are going to continue buying them, and audiences are going to continue consuming and funding their media. So this is clearly not the end for the audience commodity theory, as it's been evident that it'll always serve as a way to analyze the relationship between media, advertisers, and audiences. Mentioned in the press release we read out earlier, the audience commodity protesters said they will be posted until 5 p.m. today, so traffic has been completely stopped in that area, so we suggest that you find an alternative route home this afternoon, as those protesters aren't going anywhere. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, where you can find our daily 12 p.m. news reports if you happen to miss any of them, and make sure to check out our Instagram and Twitter, where we post constant updates on the protests and other things occurring around the city. Thank you for joining us today. This was Sophia Lopez, BCMS News, Calgary.